All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our live stream today. I'm Stacy Savage, aka the Texas Trash Talker, your recycling expert and zero waste nerd of 20 years. Um, just going to go over some quick ground rules. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat and they'll show up on my end. We can go ahead and answer those questions live. If it's in particular if it's a particular question about your business industry, make sure you let me know what business industry you're actually in so I can kind of tailor my response to your question. And if you're not already connected with me on LinkedIn, go ahead and do that. And you can also, from my LinkedIn page, my personal page, you can go ahead and connect with us on our business page as well, called Zero Waste Strategies LLC. We put in, daily best tips, tricks, hacks for your business to reduce waste, increase your revenue, deepen your customer loyalty, gain employee buy-in, which is really what we're going to be discussing today, and also how to drive a green marketing edge. So if you're interested, go ahead and follow our business page as well. And we also put out a monthly newsletter that kind of culminates all these goodies for you in the zero waste world so that you can apply them to your business immediately. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring up some slides, and this will allow me to guide you through some zero waste best practices, but also couple that with the green team building for your business. Sorry. So let me pull those up right now, and I'll be down here in the bottom of the screen. So our title today: Educate, Engage, and Empower, Gaining Employee Buy-in for Program Success. Now, employees are going to make or break your programs on any level, whether it's whether you get their buy-in or not, and that starts with kind of an emotional investment from them. So we're going to get to that part. There's some levels and layers that you need to work up to in order to get them to be emotionally invested in seeing a program actually succeed. And they're going to be the key, kind of focal point that the vast majority of your training and your programs and your activities are going to be geared to as your employees, because they can be your champions in the halls and in the office space, or they can be your naysayers, and we want yay sayers instead. So let's go ahead and move through our slides, and don't forget to type your questions into the chat and they'll pop up on my end. Okay, so employees will be your go-to champions. As I stated before, these are the kind of levels we're looking at within a corporate structure. So, and maybe you have a small business or a medium-sized business. My trainings are usually geared to businesses that have, 3,000 to 5,000 employees or more. They're generating $10 million or more in revenue. So you've got some pretty big teams to kind of handle and juggle and make sure everybody's on the same page with the same training, and that they're getting relevant information that resonates with them on a personal level and an employee kind of worker level as well. So to start with, you've got to have your executives up at the top. They're really responsible for the research, the policy development and implementation, or the policy development, the funding of programs, the enforcement, setting expectations for a green culture. Now, the managers in the middle are kind of the implementers, and they need to provide the encouragement, the training, the leadership advocacy, as well as the accountability for these programs to succeed. But that all trickles down to employees' individual actions. And what we're talking about here is zero waste programs, and the programs where You've got your 3-bin system. You've usually got trash, your recycling, and maybe you've got food waste composting or something along those lines. Maybe you just have a 2-bin system for trash and recycling. But getting your employees on board with source separating their materials responsibly and correctly is really the biggest driver for cost savings in your waste management program. So when they're cross-contaminating their materials and they're putting their soda cans and their soda bottles in the trash, that's mishandled materials, right? They are they're being mishandled and they're not being captured in the recycling stream. The reverse goes if you put trash or food waste into your recycling bin. That contaminates the recyclables that are in there. It means the hauler can't typically process that material. It's contaminated to a point where it just doesn't make any financial sense for the recycling plant to process your materials because of that contamination rate. So it really helps whenever employees understand that they are the crux. They are the key point that can help your program either teeter in a progressive and successful way, or totter in a failure kind of way. So we want to make sure that what we're sending to the recycling processors is clean and dry recyclable materials. Whatever the composters need to get, the food waste, it needs to be food that they accept. Some composters don't have the ability to process meat, bone, and dairy. So there have to be, some specific instructions to employees of how to compost their vegetable and fruit scraps, their coffee grounds and eggshells properly, and not mix in anything that has the meat, bone, or dairy. The majority of composters will take meat, bone, and dairy. And so you just have to be very cognizant of what they will accept at their processing plant and make sure to feed them only those products. Otherwise, you're going to get a contamination fee tacked onto your monthly bill. And so when we talk about reducing waste and reducing contamination rates allows you to reduce your fees from the processors and the haulers. This is where we're getting at. So making sure that employees have the energy, the innovation, the organized, mentality, and the ownership of these programs, and can offer peer-to-peer influence to help each other responsibly and correctly divert their recyclable and compostable materials away from the landfill trash and make sure that it's source separated correctly. So our next slide here is really for the executives and the managers that are on this call or who are watching right now in the recording. One way is to get employee buy-in is to really start a corporate pledge campaign that not only your employees but your customers can sign on to as well. If you'll look here, this is a global campaign for World Refill Day, and local city governments, businesses, as well as even national governments, federal governments around the world are promoting this annually. And it filters, from your employees' daily life and their personal life. When they see it outside of their own workplace, they see, local businesses advocating for this, and they see the local government putting out messaging around something like this. And then they come into their own workplace and you're doing it as well. It's just a great way to reinforce the message to, bring your own containers and recycle your bottles correctly and responsibly. So having these messages from different angles coming in at you can really influence the way that you perceive recycling and composting as not a burden, but as a personal responsibility as a worker and someone who is living their daily lives out in the real world, right? So, just take into account what your, this can be a digital campaign as well, but take into account, the training that you already have for your employees, but also where you can incorporate new, more innovative ideas that have easy access and convenience. So doing a digital pledge like this might just be something that can kind of kickstart your zero waste programs if you don't have them in place already, or reinvigorate the commitment of the company and asking the employees to commit as well by signing this pledge and changing their daily habits. So our next slide here is also for executives and managers, and this is another way to get to the employees' kind of psyche and their emotional buy-in is making talking trash fun. And when we talk trash, people, they don't want to think about it, they don't want to talk about it. I put it somewhere, it goes away. Someone hauls it off, I don't know where it goes, it ends up somewhere, not my problem anymore. But when we can gamify things and make recycling and composting programs actually fun and incentivized, people start to really feel that they can take ownership and accountability over their own actions, and that they're going to get recognized and incentivized for making the correct decisions whenever they are trying to follow the sustainability protocols that your business has put in place, or maybe that pledge that they've signed. It's a constant reminder. So this is one example where Harvard University, their sustainability team, kind of had the garbage games, and they took a big pile of materials and put it in the center of a gym floor, and their teams had to go and separate everything correctly into the recycling and trash kind of categories. And this was a real success because they got a lot of social media presence out of it. They got a lot of word of mouth on campus, and it really just helped them kind of prioritize the entire structure of the sustainability and zero waste program at the campus. When you start to kind of get that buzz and you start to demonstrate that being responsible with your materials is actually kind of fun, and other people are going to join in. They're going to start seeing themselves as change makers as well. They're going to join in. Maybe they'll sign that pledge that they hadn't thought about signing before. So once you start creating that momentum, whether it's a college campus or your business campus, people are people, and we want to highlight the accessibility and the convenience of these recycling programs, and our responsibility of actually doing it right when we're at the bin. We all have the decision, that key point of decision making, where we can either separate our materials correctly, or we can be part of the problem, muck up the system, and cross-contaminate, which causes you as a business owner the fees from your haulers. So just something else to think about is, how do we gamify these programs to make it fun for people and get them invigorated to join in and to start changing their daily personal habits, not seen as a burden, but as part of the solution. So our next slide here, and I'm in the Austin area, so I'm of course going to use the Austin Resource Recovery Department's website here. There is a game that's on the website for this department, and they have there's a screen that pops up, and you can take your mouse and move different pieces of materials that kind of fall down like a Tetris looking game, and you can take the pieces of materials that are on display, and you can pull them and drag them over into the correct receptacle, and you can get the thumbs up or the thumbs down. It'll show you where you went wrong if you got a thumbs down. So just something else, check your local city's website to see if there's some kind of gamification that you might be able to use, and this would be free to the public. See if you can work with them, with your local city at all, to see if there's some kind of game that they already have online that you can use for students or for your employees. But also, if you don't have that capability, or if your city is not doing this kind of thing, then maybe you can create your own platform or your own kind of app. I'm sure that there are very smart people at your business who may have a technology background. So another way to incentivize people is to pay them. So we've all heard about the bottle bills and, across, Michigan and Hawaii, and there's so many bottle bills out there. I think there's like 10 or 11 right now, and many other states are pushing bottle bill legislation where there's a return, there's a deposit on the bottles that you do buy from a store, but whenever you go to recycle them, you get your money back. So it's a deposit and return system, kind of like a credit system. And Texan by Nature has partnered with Texans for Clean Water. And again, I'm in Austin, so I'm going to be using some Texan examples here, but people in El Paso, this new program has rolled out where where residents can go and deposit their PET, their bottles for recycling. And studies have shown that states with a monetary incentive for recycling saw 30% reduction in litter in their waterways and their roadways. So people are, this machine is taking in their recyclables, it's spitting out a receipt with the dollar amount, and they can go exchange that for actual cash. So something else to think about if you're interested in using this in your own city or at your own business. Think about partnering with these folks here with Green Impact Plastics, D6, and MeCycle to potentially launch a pilot where your recyclables can pay your employees. Another thing to think about is we had talked about building out a mobile app, and it's pretty easy for most people. There's ways that you can do that, even if you don't have very much technology knowledge, to kind of build out your own app, something simple that helps you track and gamify recycling, the progress that people are making, earning points, boosting your collective recycling rates as a team, and to show the local economic impacts of recycling right and recycling often. So again, if you don't have too much technology experience, there are loads of platforms out there that will help you easily put together an app, or you can hire a company to do that for you. So next is an example that we've got from my company, Zero Waste Strategies, is that we have a client. It's an international bank in downtown Austin. And one thing that we were able to do is they hire us each year to do a waste audit. And we get up to our elbows for several hours, and we go through the samples that they have put aside for us, their trash sample and their recycling sample. They're a commercial property, so they don't have a food permit, meaning they're not required under local ordinance to divert any food waste. So even though that's the case, we still calculate their food waste in the trash, and what sometimes we'll find in the recycle bin, unfortunately, is some food waste as well. So what we'll do is go through and we'll take the trash sample first, and we'll dig through it. We'll pull out all the recyclables that were mishandled, and we'll put them in, different buckets. We'll weigh them, we'll catalog them, track it. And then once that's done, we'll move on to the recycling stream, and we'll do the same thing. We'll pull out all the recyclables, we'll categorize them, track them, weigh them. And eventually we start to get the breakdown of each individual waste stream, how much recycling was in there, how much trash was in there, and that helps them produce better training for their employees. They can provide real-time examples. Hey, these guys came through last week, and now we've got the report. Here's what we're showing, in the trash stream. We went from this percentage last year to this percentage this year, and we can do a side-by-side comparative analysis year on year on year to show them if their trajectory is going up regarding their recycling rate, and if their waste is coming down, and if their contamination rates are coming down as well. So this is a really good strategy to do on a yearly basis by either hiring us to come out and do that for you, and we don't just do work in Texas. We are global. We have passport, we'll travel. So if you need assistance in doing something like that, let us know. But these statistics, the employees really resonate with the statistics that they start to see these, because they understand that it's a direct reflection of their own activities at the bin system. So on a collective level and down to an individual level, people can understand, hey, maybe I need to increase my recycling awareness, or maybe I need to do a better job or help my peers do a better job. Remember, we're talking about developing green teams here. So having that peer-to-peer influence is really critical. And once they see the numbers, because we did the waste audit and all the breakdown and show the contamination rate and the recycling rate, and, are we going up? Are we going down? There's a lot of data that we can pull from just digging through the trash. And people are really appreciative, and sometimes they're pretty shocked at what they find. So this is the year-on-year comparison of that yearly client that we have in downtown Austin, that International Bank. And you can see here, the first time we did a waste audit, it was at 22.5%. They went up slightly, not by much, in 2018, but in 2019, you can see this huge jump because they started implementing much stronger training programs, and they started to have people who kind of monitored bins every once in a while to take a look inside the bins inside of the business, and to take a look and see, are things getting sorted properly? Do we have issues with this particular branch of this department? And sometimes you can identify who's wasting what by the types of products that they bring in. Maybe it's a specific type of little yogurt cup that you see so-and-so using that in, the kitchenette at the location all the time. And you realize that that person is actually not recycling their cups. So it's really interesting to start seeing where people can identify, oh, that's from so-and-so. It's not to have call out culture or anything like that. It's just to allow additional awareness for people to self-identify and go, oh, those are my cups and I've been doing that wrong. Whoops. So that you can see the evidence right in front of you. And of course, 2020 is not in there because COVID, everything was shut down. Obviously, there were no people in the building generating any waste for us to go through. So in 2021, people were finally starting to come back to the office, and you could see that many people had lost their skill because there wasn't a constant reminder, the signage and the training. People were just coming out of this fog of being in a global pandemic and still being very cautious and not having, much interaction, even if you were in the office. Limited interaction. And so people, I think, honestly, recycling and waste diversion programs just weren't at top of mind. And you can see the pretty dramatic drop here whenever they had a 33% increase from 2018 to 2019 and a pretty big drop from 2019 to 2021 with COVID. So something to keep in mind is to keep that training and keeping the importance of your sustainability programs top of mind for people. So this is more for your facilities crew, your janitorial crew, people who are kind of in middle management, not necessarily your executive C-suite. So when we have cross-contamination, that is usually because people are confused about they're confused about what material they have in their hand versus which bin it's supposed to go into. And once they get confused and they're standing there for a little while, then they become embarrassed, and then they get a little frustrated, and then you just see, I give up, apathy just kind of sets in, right? So helping people before they even walk up to the bin, you can see here that if I, in the image here to the left, if I was clear across the room in a cafeteria and I could see these bins, I've got clear color coding. I know that black is garbage, blue is recycling, and green is composting. And as I'm putting all of my uneaten food, or my scraps or whatever, on my tray from my lunchtime, and I get up to walk over to this 3-bin system, I already know what's going to go where, because I was able to see it across the room, and I could plan for that. I could say, okay, so on my tray, I've got this soda bottle, I've got this, pile of orange scraps, these orange peels, and then I've got a little plastic tray that has a little bit of food waste in it. So I'm going to take my napkin and I'm going to wipe out my plastic food tray and put it with my orange peels. And then I'm going to take my plastic food tray. It's going to go in the recycling bin. My soda container is also going to go in the recycling bin. And guess what? I have no trash. So when people are prepared, they can be prepared, pre-pave these solutions for them. They can be build more confidence at the 3-bin system for knowing exactly what goes into which bin, so they aren't caught feeling flustered and just giving up. But if you do have, a key thing to remind people is, if you truly don't know what is supposed to go where, instead of contaminating because you're wish cycling and you're kind of just hoping and praying that this is supposed to be where this thing is supposed to go, when in doubt, throw it out. If you don't have a confident decision made, go ahead and put everything in the garbage instead of cross-contaminating these other streams. Because again, you're most likely going to get fined from your hauler and your processor if those materials, those mishandled materials, are found in the incorrect stream. So when in doubt, throw it out. Keep that in the back of your mind. Maybe that's something that you want to convey to your employees during your kind of semi-annual or annual training about how to recycle responsibly. But this can also, help set the corporate culture and the expectations. Once your expectations are set and people are practiced and they feel that their habits are changing for the better, then they can start being your advocate in the halls. They can start saying, oh, let me help you with that. This goes over here, not over there. So they can do it in a way that is helpful, and that you're doing kind of peer-to-peer outreach, and people can feel like, oh, I can lean on Susie because she knows all the recycling rules and I can ask her. So, that's where you're going to start seeing those people kind of bubble up to the top that could potentially be your green team leaders. And you probably want to have a couple of leaders in each department and on each floor who can monitor bins and who can provide, influential suggestions to their peers whenever they're at the bin systems there. They know that they can go and talk to this person who's on the green team and to bring their questions. So something else to think about, you can also have your green team help with eco messaging, eco meetings. You're building out communications in your newsletters, and helping with zero waste events. One great way to utilize your green team is to have them be on site at events where they can stand at the 3-bin system or the 2-bin system, and whoever walks up, they're pointing and saying, yes, this goes here, yes, this goes there. But they can assist people who may not be as involved in the recycling program. They can assist people who may not be as skilled or knowledgeable, and helping raise their knowledge level as well as their confidence level, and really helping show the executive team that these programs are working and they should keep receiving funding and financial investment from the upper management. So one thing that is really helpful whenever you build up your green team is that you can realize cost savings, you can attract and retain the top tier talent, and you can strengthen your brand and increase your market share. So the waste reduction is really the lowest hanging fruit of any operational efficiency. So just like energy and water, waste reduction can also help save money. You also want to boost the employee morale company-wide. So using this is an empowering platform for teamwork. And you really want to have your staff bragging outside of the workplace to their friends, their family, and to showing them how much the company cares about having zero waste programs and sustainability programs. And this really helps your business align with the social justice and environmental justice values, and the $360 billion in purchasing power that is brought to the market by Gen Z in the US. Now, globally, it's 450 billion. So just something to think about is recruiting and retaining top tier talent, cost savings, and building out your green storytelling abilities, the capability for you to tell the green story of what's happening in your business and how your employees are adhering to the guidelines and how they're actually promoting to their peers is a really great way to kind of set yourself apart in your own industry. So ways that you can go about that is really want to focus on your internal operations. It's really great to do a deep dive on what your current sustainability programs are, getting feedback from your green team and other employees about what they like and don't like about those current programs, and then get innovative ideas about where you should go based on what they want to see. So there could be, additional incentives to give prizes out to the recycling employee of the month or the green team member of the month, and to build the green team through incentivization, but also enrollment as well, getting more and more people on the green team so that we have a more robust system company-wide. And you can also bring your consumers into the equation as you're doing that green storytelling, and you're marketing your green events, you're marketing your green accomplishments and achievements, you're putting out your tracking numbers on your CSRs every year. You can really start to tell that green story and to bring your consumers into the fold, into the equation. And again, like we started with, bringing them something as simple as joining a pledge to alter habits within your home and your workplace for waste reduction. And really link all of this to the overarching corporate goals for sustainability. So it's a really great way to kind of plug in additional evidence to your workers, your customers, your investors, your shareholders, and your CEO that these programs are working and that they should continue to be funded and enforced. So let's go over real quick some quick steps to actually starting the green team. So using grassroots energy from your staff works its way up to managers and the C-suite. For an example, our company worked with a very large pet food brand, and they had a team, 3,000 workers in this 3 million square foot business campus. And it was really the workers that said, hey, we have a cafeteria, we have all this food waste, where's our composting bins? And it was the workers that kind of did the grassroots public outcry, the worker outcry to the managers. And then the managers took it to the C-suite, and the C-suite said, hey, CEO, we need to listen to what they're saying. And, the CEOs basically said, yeah, let's get a zero waste program going. Let's implement this in the next couple of months. And so really having your workers voice their opinion in a safe manner, maybe that is through surveys. You can do anonymous surveys, digital surveys, but capture those ideas from employees so that they can work their way up the chain to those who do handle the funding and the waste hauling contracts and the legal department. All of those three departments are usually key in getting a new program going. So make sure to also communicate and share best practices. So you can get your employees in a room, do a roundtable, and start to just brainstorm some innovative ideas, and even have them do research into programs that maybe other companies are doing that they'd like to see incorporated into their business, into their company. And when you start to see people who are really invested and they get super excited, that's whenever you're going to start to be able to ID your champions. So they're going to bring forth the most energy around this, the most innovative ideas, and they're going to be the ones recruiting their peers to bring them into the fold as well. So you also want to engage employees on their personal lives. So ask them about the daily hacks that they use in their own kitchen, or in their somewhere in their home, in their garage, or their workspace at home, or their laundry room even. So asking them, what are some unique tips, tricks, hacks that we can use here at the corporate level that you do on a daily basis that is probably just back of mind for them. It's just routine. They didn't think it was anything that big of a deal or very special, but it could be something that kind of instigates a whole new program. So another example from this same pet food company, international pet food brand that we worked with, they had one employee that in her department, set all of the printers to default front back. And they were able to save reams and reams and reams of paper at the end of the year because everybody just kind of went with it. It was one default setting. And then it kind of spread throughout the entire floor, all the other 13 floors in the building. So it was something that was just a very simple switch, and the business was able to save a boatload of money on just copy paper. So just something that you might do. I know that we do that here at my house. We have the default kind of front back setting so that we don't waste paper. But just to give you an idea of what I was talking about there. So another way to engage those who are involved in your business is on the consumer side, right? So having your consumers feel that they are part of the solution. So social media challenges, they could take surveys as well. Everything, could be anonymous if you feel that that's most appropriate. And you can incentivize people as well who take part in your social media challenges, and to, they use a certain hashtag, or they at the company in their progress, something along those lines, where the customers are showing your product with your logo and they're saying, we shop because of their sustainability priorities. So something to think about that could be a really great way to involve your consumers. And you can also use art to raise awareness. So reuse competitions with on-site materials. I know at one of the big Austin Earth Day festivals that we had out here, we got a bunch of elementary students to collect paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls from their schools so that they could make a huge art mural with glue and glitter and these little cardboard rolls, and they would cut them up and slice them and dice them and make them into cute little designs and glue them onto this big kind of plywood type thing, paint them however they wanted to do it. But really and that went into one of the local libraries' front entryway. It was a huge mural, and these kids just went to town. Just another way to think about how you can incorporate the use of art and reuse competitions with on-site materials at your own business space. So you also, once your green team is created, you've gotten several meetings. Maybe you do monthly meetings or quarterly meetings with your green team, and you want to align your green team with promotions of corporate responsibility that your business is already planning to to be involved in, to promote. So if you've got a big campaign coming up that focuses on sustainability, you're going to want your green team to start echoing that in their departments, echoing that to their peers and their managers, and to be able to promote the corporate sustainability goals as well. And maybe they're talking about this big goal outside of your company to their friends and family as well. Remember, word of mouth is the best advertisement, right? So this really helps build that trust level among your employees, whether they're on the green team or not. You've got people who are starting to see these people as leaders and people who they can go to with kind of questions around green issues or sustainability. And definitely want to get creative. Build out incentives for your green team members' participation and their continued recruitment of other people. So you don't want to just rely on them. You need to praise them as well, and providing them with additional access, additional, just in-person time with managers to talk about these issues, and really help them understand that they're playing a critical role in taking what the CEO and what the C-suite managers or executives are trying to do at the corporate level, and to make it very palpable and tangible at the individual level on each floor or in each department. So they're really the translators for the CEO and C-suite executives. They translate these big corporate goals into very individualized actions that can be taken. And definitely want to give special recognition to your green team champions. So maybe you highlight somebody once a month or once a week in your newsletters, put it up on your TV monitors. Maybe there's an intranet kind of communication that goes between employees and managers. So something special that can be done for those who are really giving it their best effort and are learning, they're promoting, and they're building that trust, that rapport among your employees, as well as bringing the big sustainability goals down to a very actionable steps that people can take. So one thing that people can do is, lead the way, your green team, if they are involved in like ordering catering for a specific event, or maybe it's an employee meeting and they're going to get something, bring in some kind of food for lunch, or maybe it's an all-nighter and people are staying late at the office. That there's ways that you can do that in a sustainable manner, where you're maybe ordering for your office for multiple employees for takeout or delivery. And you can always, refuse common items that many food businesses kind of stick. They'll stick it, in the bag. So your plastic cutlery that's single use, the salt and pepper shakers, the napkins, straws, those kinds of things, where you can just refuse those things whenever you place your order, because most likely if you're at the office, you've got a kitchenette area or a little kind of food service area or employee kitchen where you can go in and you've already got those things on hand. You've got reusable plates, cups, forks, spoons, knives. You are, typically maybe have napkins on hand already. Maybe you've got some metal straws that you hand out. Maybe you've got logoed coffee mugs already there. So you don't really need all of those single-use plastics and disposables, and that you're using what you already have. So it's a great way that's a great kind of launch point. Right there, is to show how impactful you can be with just one little tick box on an order that says no cutlery or something along those lines, whatever the ordering platform allows you to put in there. So, but another way to help other employees who may not be part of the green team and may not be as well versed in these types of waste reduction tactics, something that you can present to them or, request that they start doing is to kind of BYOB, bring your own basics for lunch. And that would include, a reusable bag, like a tote bag or a little lunch kit like you see here. Refillable water mug, your coffee mug, cutlery. I use bamboo cutlery that you see here near the blue container. There's you can use stainless steel. They've got multiple little packets of reusable cutlery that you can use, and you can even use the resealable containers. Bring your Tupperware, and even if you're going out, bring your Tupperware there instead of using their plastic clamshells for to-goes or their their styrofoam clamshells to go. Just bring your own. That way you can save the food even better. It seals a lot better than just a clamshell. But also you can wash it out and just bring it home or leave it there at your desk. And reusable bags, obviously, cloth napkins, those are really helpful as well. All things that you can wash and not put into the trash or the recycling bin. So just a couple of examples that can kind of kickstart your green team's actions on behalf of multiple people in your team or in your department, and then some individual actions that people can do whenever they're maybe taking their own lunch to work. So as we wrap up here, I want to discuss really quickly our 2 tiers of service. Tier 1, our Zero Waste Strategies, is an environmental consulting firm, and we work with businesses, local government agencies, as well as institutions like higher education campuses to help them reduce waste for increased revenue, deeper customer loyalty, employee empowerment, as well as a green marketing edge. So Tier 1 is a 3-month online training course for owners and managers of typically small and medium-sized businesses. This online program helps you learn the key waste reduction protocols to optimize your hauling contracts, implement correct and proper recycling strategies, engage your employees, and to drive that green marketing edge. Tier 2 is a bespoke strategic planning for larger businesses who are seeking to go after the true zero waste facility certification process. And true zero waste facility certification is led by the U.S. Green Building Council. The U.S. Green Building Council also administers LEED standards for green building, energy, water. So this is kind of like LEED, but for waste. So True is a newer certification. It started back in maybe 2015, but so it's not as well known, but it is an option for you. Especially great. An especially great option if you already had your LEED standard, if you've already got your LEED certification and you want to go further, starting to implement your waste reduction strategies into that is a great next step for you. So we provide on-site services, which would include an in-depth waste audit. Remember, we get into your trash, your recycling and food waste streams up to our elbows for several hours. And then we do data analysis and reporting of the findings that we gather from the waste audit. So you can see where your program is and what needs to change, things that you're doing well, and where you want to go. We provide observations and recommendations for that that align with the true certification standards. And then we provide fun, engaging, in-person employee training sessions as well. We use games like buzzer games, true, false, pop quizzes, just to keep their mind engaged so that it stays at the front of the mind there. And then we also provide assistance in the true certification application process. So not only do you have to implement the standards of true, you also have to go through the application process that demonstrates to true why your business deserves the certification recognition. So just a couple of things that we can do to help you out, your choice. And then, if you need something that's even more customized, we can chat a little bit later about that. You can always reach out to me here on LinkedIn, or we're our business page on Facebook. We have a YouTube account as well. We're also streaming on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. But you can reach out to us multiple ways. You can also go to our website, which is zerowaste.org. It's just the number 0, waste.org. And our phone number is 512-693-7677. So here's all that contact information as well. And you can find us on these socials, and go ahead and take a screenshot of this, and make sure that, if you need to talk to us about what a good strategy might look like for your particular business, or if you're struggling with some headaches around waste reduction or getting your employees on board within your industry, just reach out to me. We might be able to set up a call to discuss that and to kind of figure out some real-time solutions for you that might be able to help you kind of get over that hurdle and keep moving toward those goals. So if you would like to chat, go ahead and reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. All right, y'all, we're all done here today. We're going to be back in 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from now. So check back with us on LinkedIn. We'll have an event page where you can sign up to attend. Thanks so much for your time.